You want to work on the project, if you want to work on the app, sure. Or the website more.
Right on. Right. So,
Yes, I see. I've left on the shelf.
all right. Hey, what's up, guys? So, I actually had a dream. Not like that. But like, I had this kind of project going on the side that Mark knows about. A few people in the class know about. Like, I actually run a YouTube channel called Crypto Photographers, and obviously with Bitcoin going crazy and cryptocurrency is kind of becoming mainstream use. I kind of wanted to integrate something like that into like a project, right? So I kind of communicated to the rest of these guys, and with crypto going, nuts past couple of months, I think we kind of went off with the idea. And so Crypto 3 kind of came up because Team 3, right? And we were basically an exchange site, so kind of like GDAX, kind of like Coinbase, all that kind of stuff. So we display current crypto prices and basically how they look, and we have like a login function and all that kind of stuff. So we are safe, secure, and easy to use. We can actually use Alexa to buy and sell, right? So we use voice commands to be able to, if you're washing dishes or cutting your vegetables, you need your latest and greatest prices of Bitcoin or whatever, then it'll let you know. So our functionality is we actually go through CoinMarket API, and we have integrated blockchain technology. So we've created our own blockchain, which has hashing and previous hashing. So basically what it does is it kind of is able to encrypt like users, right? So if you, as a user, if you go in there and you go, buy some sort of crypto currency, then it'll basically take your information and put it into a hash, right? And basically when, say, Sophion goes in and buys a cryptocurrency and passes it off to, and then sells that crypto, and then Yogi goes and buys it. What it does is it basically picks up that previous encryption and creates a new one, right? So every single time, it's just changing hands, and that cryptocurrency can kind of stay in circulation without being in any sort of database. And the cool thing about that is it basically takes away centralization, so you're no longer part of any banks, right? So we can actually just show you the page here. Yeah. So we incorporated a lot of, I'm sure you guys would probably recognize a little bit of Materializer, and quite a bit of Bootstrap as well. So if Yogi, you can go ahead and log in with actually you would sign up. What it's going to do is basically take you to your market, right? And what you're seeing here is the current price at whatever that was, about 30 seconds ago, of Bitcoin, and the currency symbol, your percent change over the last 24 hours, the current market cap that it's at, and when it was last updated. And so obviously you can still use like buy and sell buttons and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, so it currently is only displaying 10 of them, but there are about 100 out there, so you can always, take off limits and all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually going to pass it off to Yogi right now, who's going to talk about how we integrated Alexa and how it kind of works.
Cool, thank you. So as Bahadur mentioned, in order to engage with the platform, we use Alexa as the touch point. So as a user, you would essentially use voice commands to either buy or sell a cryptocurrency. In this demo, we're going to buy and sell Bitcoin as part of our exchange. So within Alexa, essentially, what we did is we set up two intents, which are essentially commands, one to buy and one to sell. And part of that intent, we captured count, and they call it a slot, which is essentially a variable. So we're capturing that variable, that quantity, and essentially it's going to be passed into Firebase. So it's creating a transaction. It's being pushed into Firebase at the current price, and we use CoinMarket API. So when that's all done through Amazon, I also used Amazon Lambda, which is it's a service as part of AWS where you can essentially run functions in the cloud. So it's essentially, if you're not leveraging that function, you're not paying for it. So it's a pay as you go type of service. So what Alexa does, it calls on that function and it looks at any other, basically a group of functions, and sees what it needs to do. What's the intent? Is it a buy intent, sell intent? And then it goes ahead and pushes to Firebase, whether it's a buy or sell. So I'm going to go ahead and start the transaction. Open Crypto 3.
Where you can buy and sell Crypto 3 currency.
I would like to buy 100. So right there, as you can see, it created a buy order of 100, and this is the current price. Wow, it's going down. At Bitcoin, and then Sophian's going to talk about the digital ledger that is creating the hash that we have another JSON file or JavaScript file that's creating this particular hash, and it's being pushed as this transaction is coming into Firebase. So
before we the whole data that you guys see here, before it displays on the Firebase, it goes through the blockchain technology, which we try to use. So we're not using the whole technology, so we're just keeping it local in our local machine. So we receive the whole data, and then the hash function that is living on the crypto library in the JavaScript. So it creates this code right here. So it's basically a private key for that particular transaction, and then the key valid. It says if the blockchain is valid. So this transaction didn't exist before in the blockchain. So confirms it.
What we did through the blockchain technology actually was like probably one of the most like over the head, like what the heck is going on in that situation, because basically what it's doing is incorporating a Java library into JavaScript, jQuery, Amazon, and Firebase, right? So trying to get all of that to kind of merge into one like platform is like kind of makes you want to like sledgehammer your face. But yeah, so like what Sophian was saying is it creates a hash, and then upon basically buying or selling it again, it's going to create you'll be able to have like a previous hash to it, right? So the next person who buys the same coin, right, is going to basically have like this is who it was before. You don't know who it is, but that's their hash, and this is the hash now, right? So that's kind of what it looks like on the front and the back end. But we obviously did have some wish list stuff, which Vlad is going to go over.
I wanted Alexa to be able to recognize the fluctuation of the market and notify you, and maybe automatically either sell for you at certain percentage dips or ups and or buy for you as well. And I mean that takes quite a bit of time to do. So it took a while. I got started on it, but couldn't implement it in time. I'm not sure.
Maybe beyond that, we really, really wanted to be able to. I mean, the things that we are going to expand on with this kind of project is to be able to actually mine the technology itself, right? And obviously, way down the line, when cryptocartographers creates its own first, cryptocurrency, you're looking at the first miners like right here. We're actually way down the road. I've always kind of wanted to create my own type of currency. You know what I mean? So, and really, all that really takes on the backbone of it is a blockchain, right?
And this app, this front end actually refreshed. So refreshed every.
It refreshes every 2 minutes, but the API and the endpoint is 5 minutes. So just to have it refresh itself.
And honestly, we didn't have to use Alexa, obviously, to make buy and sell orders. You could do that online, but we wanted to because it's a cool thing to engage with a piece of hardware. At the same time, as Vlad was mentioning, if you want to set up a low price of $1,300 for Bitcoin, you're cutting vegetables, you get a notification on your phone, but sometimes you don't have your phone with you. But Alexa can announce, hey, Bitcoin's at $1,300, would you like to buy? Or Alexa's at 2,000, would you like to sell? So that's a pretty cool thing to have. But yeah, there's a lot of challenges with Alexa. There's great tutorials if you guys have not checked them out. It's easy to set up. You don't need a device. You can always use their dev environment. But some of the challenges we came across with Alexa was, so part of while we're creating the Lambda function, I had to call out to the Bitcoin API to get the price, pull that in, and then push that to Firebase. So initially, connecting to Firebase was a hassle because obviously Amazon, Google doesn't play nice, and you have to do a lot of Google search, and you have to write the function in Node as part of Amazon services. So just had to learn a lot about callbacks, which Mark, I hope you go more in depth when we come back.
Yes, we will.
So it's a totally different new world.
I've got a slideshow coming up called Callbacks in the Wild.
Awesome. So that's right here. Node is all about callbacks. I think that's one of the things. So, but yeah, we got to work. We got to pull that value. We got to push to Firebase, and Sofyan did some magic with his Bitcoin blockchain technology, and yeah, for that.
It was one of those projects where everybody touched on everything. I had no idea what was going on. He had no idea what was going on in the blockchain. I had no idea. Nobody really did. But we just had to use Andrew and that special copy paste function to really make it. And to this point, the stuff that we were able to accomplish with this was way beyond what we originally thought was possible. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Questions? Yes. Any questions?
Do you guys have a link for Alexa tutorials, how to
Oh yeah, I'm sure Yogi has tons of those.
resources?
Slack
Slack it
it
out.
out,
We
yeah.
wanna know.
Where are you getting the feeds from? Is it CoinMarketCap?
The feeds the current prices and
Current
stuff.
prices.
Yeah, that's CoinMarket API. Yeah. So that's right there.
Who came
And
up
all
with
the
link?
ticker information and all that kind of. So really, the meat of what I really wanted to do on the front end of it was to be able to have current prices going up and down constantly, being able to see every transaction that happens on the digital ledger, way out there. But this is what we're able to do with it so far.
Is Ripple a good investment? Is the only
I
one
know,
that-
that's what I was thinking
I heard about that
too.
today,
Yeah, it's gone up like 800.
I don't know how.
Wait, so is Ripple a good investment because it's the only one looking like it's going up?
Like
So
going up.
I've actually noticed the past couple weeks that Ripple is the only one that has either stayed steady or jumped up double in value. Because it was only at 50 cents or something.
Yeah.
I think a week ago or a week and a half ago. So it's become $1 or so now. Bitcoin Cash obviously is the one that's kind of exploding all of a sudden. It's died in the past 2 days, but I mean, with how things are kind of going right now, I have a couple of friends on a different Slack channel that are saying that they expect to see Bitcoin by the end of this year to be at 20 grand. At 20 grand, and for Bitcoin Cash to be at 10. So, yeah, to jump all the way back.
Bye.
I know, right?
It's a week and a half.
And that's not me trying to mess with the market.
Wow.
Cool. Oh, I got you all back.
Not really.
I have to take medicine. We need more. It's